I was just going to show that I told the principal that, yeah, I think the challenge then was trying to make Aliyah. So the guy here also. The challenge then was making Aliyah, and uh, it's a shame that they weren't educating for that back then. You know, in 1924 Poland, they should have taught the girls, let's all move to the land of Israel and have a proper Jewish state. That maybe could have had a major effect in staving off the Holocaust or ameliorating these types of effects. So too, I asked him, and now today, where are we? This is a nice, I guess, religious Zionist high school. I told him that the other fathers I know who sent to this high school happen to be rabbinical types who, colleagues of mine. Okay? People who are like me and get along with me. At least I know some of the parents there. So we have a lot in common. What is the challenge today? The challenge today in the redemptive process is bringing attention to the Beis Hamikdash, because too many so-called Zionists are okay with, the state got established. Oh, and we even won a 6-day war, but we haven't moved anywhere forward in the last, I don't know, almost 60 years, right?
I heard that the Arabs, when we conquered Jerusalem, were like sure we were going to knock down the Dome of the Rock and build the Beis Hamikdash.
Everybody,
they were surprised that we didn't do
Yeah,
that.
very fools. Everybody was expecting what should have been, because that's what they did to us. Also, they're expecting reprisals, but they didn't do such a thing. So it's kind of crazy. Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote about Kol Dodido Fake. What is Kol Dodido Fake? That's the title of the book. It's one of his amazing books. It's not considered the Rabbi Soloveitchik book. It's a speech he gave 8 years after the establishment of the State of Israel, talking about how this is divine opportunity. Now, why is this ironic? We talked about those 3 oaths, Hishpat, Yatchem, Benoth, Yerushalayim, Mitzvah oath, how that in the Gemara, there's an Agadah. That's actually in the Gemara and Ksubos, it's just a paraphrase and just one snippet from a larger Midrash in Medrash Shir Hashirim, which talks about how Am Yisrael basically is supposed to stay in the Golus. Now, those who understand the Pshat, the whole picture of that particular passage, are telling us how it is Am Yisrael's tendency to stay in the Golus. Okay, and they weren't supposed to. What are you going to do? It's hard to you can take the Jew out of the Golus, but you can't take the Golus out of the Jew. That's what it's talking about. The irony of that passage is that it became the source for the prohibition, so to speak, to, let's say, have a national Jewish movement for the settlement of the land of Israel, or the establishment of the state, or mass aliyah. That's very ironic. The Rambam and Rashi and everybody would never have said, Chas v'shalom, that this Talmudic passage / Midrash is actually telling you not to do exactly what the Torah all along wanted you to do. God chose Abraham. What's the act of choice? How did God let Abraham know that he was the one that God is choosing to make a great nation? Leave your family and your land and go to the land that I will show you, and I will give it to you. That has always been the challenge of Judaism. That was the challenge of the people who left Egypt. So that's ironic. Okay? So because of these three oaths, we get this idea, tendency to stay in Chutz La'aretz. That's why if you're in Chutz La'aretz, stay there. The temples and ruins, stay that way. And that explains why many great rabbis, like the Tzitz Eliezer, who was a posek in, typical Shulchan Aruch things, when it came to this essential question, was of this view. If the temples is in ruins, so what are you going to do? Nothing you can do. You just have to sit and wait, as we saw him say. So, but besides this drash on this particular pasuk, what does it mean in context? I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, lest you wake up the love, arouse the love before I desire. That pasuk is a few times, twice it's verbatim and once slightly different in Shir Hashirim. What was the context of how that was said? Rabbi Soloveitchik talked about Kol Dodido Fake, the story, which is on the screen in front of you here. It's the 5th chapter of Shir Hashirim, starting from the 2nd pasuk, which is where the parsha begins. I am asleep, but my heart is awake. The sound of my beloved knocketh on the door. He's coming. And I was a little bit lazy and I didn't get up in time. And by the time I got to the door, what happened? My beloved was gone and I missed it. So Rabbi Soloveitchik was talking about how with the establishment of the State of Israel, we had 6 divine knocks. Opportunity was knocking. God is basically telling us, here's the chance. Now, why is this so ironic here? In context over here, it says that the beloved got up to open the door for her beloved, the Dodi. There's the Raya and the Dodi. I was saying the Raya is the feminine. That's Am Yisrael. The Dod, the beloved masculine, that's God. Okay, this is a mushal for God and Israel as lovers. So It says that she went out looking for him. I sought him. Bikashtiu v'lo mitzatihu. I called him v'lo anani. And then the guards found me, and they were starting to attack me. And then it talks about I adjured you not to do this. Okay.
Saying that 6 opportunities to found proper Jewish.
Yeah, they were given six divine knocks. There were many opportunities given, and if you read Kol Dodi Fake, which I have on the other tab over here, Safaria has it. It's now a book called Faith, Redemption, and Destiny, or something like that. It was originally called Kol Dodi Fake. Rabbi Soloveitchik originally gave the speech in some other language. I think it was translated. He either said in Yiddish or in Hebrew. So it was originally published in Hebrew and was translated by this Rabbi David Gordon. I remember I had the original copy when it first came out. Still my copy at home. It's a good read. It also has that classic note at the back: Amalek is whoever tries to attack Am Yisrael. And because I am certain that Nazi Germany was Din of Amalek, using that classic Brisker derivation there. So Rabbi Soloveitchik is pointing out that in this context, what happens is Am Yisrael was given all these divine opportunities. Right now we have God is knocking also. God wants us to take over Eretz Yisrael and destroy Amalek, finally rebuild the base of Mikdash, and the enemies are saying that's what they're fighting for. And they're daring us to take back Eretz Yisrael and destroy them and rebuild the base of Mikdash, and we're just ignoring them. So you have all these divine knocks, as Rabbi Soloveitchik would say, and the response to the divine knocks is, the classic Jewish response to the divine knocks, as Rabbi Soloveitchik is saying, is 3 oaths. Not only do we never, in the last 2,000 years at least, take the opportunity that God gives us when he's knocking and knocking, we go and say, unlike what Shir HaShirim, Medrash Shir HaShirim is trying to tell us, the nature of the Jewish people and they have to overcome is to stay in Gullus. They dafka say, no, we have to stay in Gullus. We should not have taken the opportunity to build the base of Mikdash. You could have a former chief rabbi write the letter to Rabbi Yisrael Ariel saying, I don't want to hear any more about this building base of Mikdash stuff. Stop talking to me about it. Stop showing me your Rambams and your Gemaras, because just because that proves what you're saying, you shouldn't say it. That's why it's so frustrating. Okay, the passage in Shir HaShirim is telling you, Jews, wake up when you have opportunities like this, like Yehuda Maccabee had. Fight your enemies. If they really come to destroy you, destroy them. And if it ends up being that, look at that. Now you can build a base of Mikdash. You have the opportunity. Take the opportunity. And instead, Jews look at this one pasuk in it. They miss the bigger context. They say, "Well, I got to stay put. Let's just build a big shul. Wait for Mashiach to come." That's why it's very important we look at these things. And it's possible, because I'll say, and this thing that is unpopular, but you have to say it, when it comes to matters of hashkafa, you need people who understand what's going on here. And many great rabbis, despite their knowledge of halacha, got the hashkafa part wrong.